everyone, and welcome to today's episode of my Woman Who Inspires series. My name is Sreshtha. I am the director of the Self-Worth, Leadership, and Empowerment Consultancy. I am a motivational speaker and a wholeness guide. And ultimately, I just believe and want mental freedom for all women, whatever I can do to help women live a mentally free life. I want to do. In this series, we talk to amazing women who are willing to be vulnerable and share their emotional journeys with the intention that the persons who are watching will understand that our negative emotions or perceived negative emotions are really pushing us to a better place in our life or even a better purpose for ourselves. Today, I am really excited to have with me my good friend. Her name is Charyse Williams. She is the CEO of GreenandGorjus. She is a holistic health and empowerment coach, also a business development coach, and many more things because she's extremely intelligent. You can check out her bio for all the myriad of things that she does. She was a former ICU nurse, a registered nurse for over 25 years. So welcome to the series, Charyse. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, thanks so much for coming on, given the wealth of your background in medicine and now going into coaching. I know you have an exciting story to share with us.
Well, again, I just appreciate the opportunity. I love that you reached out and that we're able to empower women together. So that's awesome. I love your platform.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. Yes, Charyse is one of my affirmation room buddies.
Yes.
Okay, so Charyse, I will invite you to share your story with us.
Sure. It's really interesting as I was thinking over, what I would share. And I even had this conversation with my husband. I'm like, my pain, what's a pain, something that I experienced pain and moved through it. And I had a realization in that moment. I'm like, I don't really characterize a lot of things as pain. Not that I'm oblivious, not that I don't experience things. It's not like I, push it all away, but I reconcile that in my mind as not really pain. Because like you said something really powerful a second ago, and you said that we have the choice. Right? We have the choice to choose how we're going, our perception, right? And so my perception of all the things that I've gone through has been not so much that it was painful, but I look at it as for my learning, for my development, for my evolvement, right? And so, and then I thought, you know what? I don't know that people can relate to that, but that is my truth. That is my truth. And because we have a choice. We have a choice how we're going to interpret or perceive the things that happen to us that maybe don't go our way, or maybe it's out of the blue. One example I was sharing, this is actually a recent example. When I had COVID, which was literally, when I say recent, it was August, 6 months ago, something like that. And I had COVID, and I just didn't have COVID. I got really, really sick. And I was in the hospital for 8 days, away from my husband, away from my kids, and I was in a little bit of physical pain. Like it hurt to breathe. So we're talking about emotional pain, but I was in a lot of physical pain. And then not only that, so I was in the hospital kind of isolated. Like I said, no, I had my phone and my charger. That was all I had. And so I was missing my boys, missing my husband, missing my home, my own space, that type of thing. And then even when I came home after those 8 days, I had to come home on oxygen. And I remember having this crazy, right? And I have no pre-existing conditions. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have, diabetes, nothing. And so for a moment when I was home, I almost went into that victim mode, victim mentality. Like, why me? Like, why would, out of all the people, I know people who've had COVID and they had like the flu for a little bit, they bounced back, or they didn't have anything, or maybe they were a little bit sick, but like not to the degree that they had to be in the hospital for 8 days, and certainly not to the degree that they had to come home on oxygen. And I was on oxygen for almost 2 months, around the clock. Like I couldn't take it off, because I couldn't breathe. And And so it's really easy for us to kind of go into that why me, that victim, that, sometimes people just shut down altogether. But I realized in that moment that I could, it was a choice. I could go there. I could, kind of question everything. But instead I looked at it like, okay, clearly I'm supposed to learn something from this. So what can I learn from this? And I learned a lot of things, actually. I learned one, that I was stronger than what I thought, right? Because the whole time when I would talk to people, they're like, oh my God, like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I literally was fine. Again, not that I was, not that I didn't understand the gravity. I mean, I am a nurse, right? So I understand the gravity of being sick and all that, and the gravity of what I was experiencing physically. But I didn't, I didn't allow myself to go there mentally, like, oh my God, worst case scenario. What if I die? That was never even a thought. And actually, I talked to one of my really good friends after I was talking to her every day in the hospital, and she was like really keeping me encouraged and texting and talking. And once I got home, and after a few weeks of being home, she was like, oh my God, I thought you were going to die. I'm like, you did? You thought I was going to die? She was like, well, yeah. And I'm like, huh. I never had that thought, not once. And she was like, really? I'm like, no, thank goodness. Because, I'm a huge believer of that. What we think about, we bring about, right? So I was very, very mindful of the thoughts that I chose to occupy my brain. And none of those thoughts were ever, I'm going to die, and even once I got out of the hospital, when I was home recuperating, and even still with the oxygen, I just kept, I just kept looking at moving forward. I'm healing every day. And I literally would say affirmations every day. We have a mutual friend, Mo. I love Mo. And so Mo would text me and everything throughout the day, and every day checking on me and sending me different protocols to do, just natural healing plant medicine protocols. And so I was always looking, okay, how can I get better? How can I continue to get better? And thank you that I'm healing. My lungs are healing every day, and my body is getting stronger every day. Like literally, those are my affirmations every single day. And so the biggest thing is choice, right? And then going back to what I learned from it. I learned how strong I was. I learned how powerful my mind is. All of our minds. All of it. We all have very powerful minds. A lot of times we allow our thoughts and our emotions to run us, and not really realizing we have control over how we feel, over how we think, and over how we're gonna respond to anything, everything, whether it's a painful situation or anything. And so the other thing I learned through that experience is that apparently I had this unconscious or a subconscious belief that I always had to be go. Always doing. And I had this unconscious belief or subconscious belief that I could not afford to take off time. Mm-hmm. And what was really revealed to me through that process is I took off, I had to, right? August, September, October. I literally did not work for 3 months, and yet I didn't skip a beat in terms of financially. Like that was, I guess, again, if you were to ask me, I would have thought that was a concern or a fear, but apparently it was deep in my subconscious because I never take breaks, never, because I love to do what I do. I don't look at it as work. I just love doing what I do. And so, but what was revealed to me is that you took 3 months off, not because you chose to, but because, that's how it worked out. And you're fine. Your family's fine. Everything's fine. So you can just know that you're fine, and you're going to be fine. Your family's going to be fine. And so that was a big learning for me. Yeah, I was like, okay, God, I got it. Why'd you have again? Like part of me was like, why do I have to learn the lesson that way? But clearly, I wasn't getting the message any other way. So literally, he sat me down for 3 months. So.
Charyse, yeah, I didn't even know that you had COVID. And I do remember a time I subbed the room for you a couple of times, and I remember other persons subbed it, but I don't think I ever knew. So first of all, I'm really glad you're okay.
Thank you.
And
thanks for subbing for me. It was a long journey.
Yeah, and I also I love your message, and I love how you deal with things. So depending on where you are in maturity of thought, you approach things differently. So Charyse is at that point where she understands that everything is a lesson and is going to teach her something.
Yeah.
So she doesn't look at it as pain. But then she had this little point of stopping, which apparently was needed. So now Charyse knows she could take 3 months vacation and not worry.
Right.
But I really find that amazing that, you are a nurse. So you would have understood what is going on, but you had to go into the hospital, and that is not a nice experience. I mean, no matter how positively you think, to be away from your family, away from your comfort zone, and any physical pain is going to affect you mentally and emotionally. They all connected.
Yeah,
but the way you pushed through for the 3 months, and you actually had that thought and knew to change the thought, that is the power of the mind, right? Because we all go through these things. We all have these thoughts that enter our mind, but the secret is, as soon as it enters, to flip the script, as we say,
immediately.
Change it into an affirmation. And I do know Charyse. I know Charyse because we both mod an affirmation room on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you 2 more questions, Charyse. Are you grateful for that unfortunate experience? And if yes, why?
I am. It was a lot of realizations. Again, one, I think probably the biggest lesson in it for me was you are worthy to take time off. It's acceptable for you to take time off. You deserve to take time off. Yeah. You don't always have to go. That was one of the biggest lessons, and trusting that everything would be fine. And it was. So I'm grateful for that, because I can honestly say, I don't think that I've ever really known that. If so, I would have done something different, right? I would have not always go, right? So that was probably the biggest learning, and I'm grateful for it, because even as this last year was coming to an end, so probably around November, I kind of got back into the groove of things in December. And then in December, as I was mapping out my 2022 year, I took off 3 months. I literally
nice
schedule intentionally, right? I literally built out my schedule and scheduled certain whatever programs I was launching, or everything, how I was going to service my clients. I literally built it around taking 3 months off. I even mapped out all my vacations, where I was going, where I was going to stay, everything, like literally.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And it was so fun. It was so fun. A lot of times, when we go on vacation, I don't know about everyone, but I know for me and my husband, because of our schedules, a lot of times we've not really planned really far in advance, because both of us used to travel a whole lot for work. And so it was like, okay, in 2 weeks, you want to go to Jamaica? Yep. Okay, let's go. I mean, that was about to have much time as we were gonna, as we had. And so it was always kind of last minute, which was fine, but because we didn't know what our schedule was going to be beyond that. And so, so it felt really good to just get lost in the freedom of just planning and scheduling vacations, not just work, but vacations. And so that was a big learn for me. A really big learn for me. Another learn is that I'm grateful because it allowed me. So I have 2 sons, and 20 and 23 at the time. I guess they were
in their 20s.
19. No,
19. Okay.
Yeah, they hadn't turned yet, so they were 19 and 22.
Okay.
Not that it really matters, and they're fabulous. They're incredible, incredible young men. But what was really beautiful to see is just how they kind of stepped up, and not that they're always very helpful, but just to another degree. Like my youngest son, he works at a restaurant. He's in school, but he also works at a restaurant. And he would be texting me, Mom, I'm going to get off in a couple of hours. You want me to bring you something to eat? Or what do you want, soup? Or do you want this? And I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And my other son, he would just, it was every time he was around, he was like, well, let me get this for you. Let me get this for you. I mean, because I'm always I don't need help. I got this, Y'all take care of you. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of this. I'll take care of this. I don't need help. Not that I ever said I don't need help, but that was what my actions were. It's like, I got it. No worries. I keep going, keep moving. And I had no choice but I could not go from the couch to the kitchen, which is not that far. Even with my oxygen, it was so much effort to even get up off the couch, and then I walked so slowly to the kitchen, because otherwise, even with oxygen, I would get short of breath. I could feel my heart rate beating really fast, as if I was like doing a Zumba class. And all I would do was slowly walking to the kitchen. And I'm like, oh my God. So it was just so beautiful to just kind of see the incredible, beautiful souls that they are, because had I not gone through that, they wouldn't have seen, they wouldn't have had the experience of having to really step in and really help and nurture and take care of and think outside of them. They're teenagers, right? So teenagers kind of caught up in their own thoughts, but in their own world. But no, it was really beautiful to see that. It was really beautiful to see that. And even my husband's always like super duper, super attentive. But it was interesting to see him kind of switch into like a nurse role, because I'm the nurse, right?
Yes.
But anyway, I'm like, y'all have learned some stuff from me. It was funny. It's funny now, but so that was another thing. I'm grateful to have had the experience, because we plant seeds into our kids, right? And and it was so interesting to see like just those seeds just kind of blossom and bloom. And I think had I not gone through this experience, they would not have had to step up in that capacity. And we would have seen it probably later on in life when they had their own kids or their own wife or something like that. But it was
but that's so heart touching as a mom to see your children be these wonderful people and willing to help you out and take care of you.
Because I'm never sick. I guess that was the biggest thing. I'm never sick, so they never had to. But it was really nice to really see how caring and nurturing they are, and they're boys.
That's the amazing thing. My last question is, what message do you have for women who may be going through, or anyone, because your experience, anyone may go through it. So what experience would you have for persons going through that?
That's a great question. I would say two things. One, things don't happen to us, they happen for us. Right? Even if it seems horrible and it happens for us. And I think if we can really look at things from that perspective, it shifts a lot of things. And it helps us to really, I think, just look at it a little bit differently. So things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And then the other thing is the importance of exercising your choice and deciding how you're going to perceive that pain or that disaster or that health crisis or whatever it is, because it's part of life. We're gonna all hopefully no one has to gets COVID and goes to the hospital like that. I mean, it's possible. I mean, we know it's possible. It's going on all the time, but we're gonna experience things out of the blue, and that's part of life, and that's part of our I guess our evolution, and it gives us an opportunity to really we can choose to cave and crash under pressure and kind of shrink into ourselves and take the approach of being a victim and pull the covers over our head. There's been times in my life I pull the covers over my head and I'm like, I don't want to deal with any of this. Or you can choose to be, okay, what is the learning? Why is this happening for me? How, what is it I'm supposed to learn from this situation? Even if it's, no matter what it is. Because here's the thing, when we learn from it, we can grow from it, right? And not only can we grow from it, we can help other women grow from it as well, because they're going to go through a similar situation, right? When we stick in it and stay in it and stay in our pain instead of standing on our pain, right? So if we sit in our pain, it actually doesn't do any of us good. It doesn't do ourselves any good, and doesn't do any good for the women around us. So choice. Short answer, choice. We get to choose how we're going to perceive what's going on and how we're going to react and navigate through that experience.
Yes, thank you so much. I do apologize, everyone. This is my daughter. So Charyse, I just really feel everything you explained is exactly what this series is. Understanding what those emotions and what it's really telling you. Not to go down into the why me, but to understand that this is a lesson, this is a learning, and to take those learnings forward into your life. So given that I have other matters here. Thank you so much.
Motherhood.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the series, for taking your time to share, and for being a woman who inspires. To my audience, I'm sorry about this, but it's part of being a mom. And if you're a mom, you relate.
For sure.
Okay, thank you, Charyse.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes.